Good to go.
Good to go. Everyone ready? Hey, people, how is everyone today? Episode 15 with me. Isn't that going to be a lot of fun tonight? I'm enjoying all of this already, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm just hoping that you guys will bear with us because I have a talker other than just me. Trust me that when we have Miranda on tonight, and what's going to be happening here is she is a very solid person that we're going to be coming online with us tonight. She's going to be answering a lot of questions that you might have. Miranda is a registered holistic nutritionist, a body wisdom expert, a Reiki practitioner. She's a trained journalist, which is really cool because she digs deep and she asks the tough questions because I don't know how to ask the tough questions. She's a TV personality on a Canadian show with Marilyn Denis. If you remember all of that one, that was a great show that was on for many years, and she was on for 9 years. She is, how do I say this now? She simplifies our health information, and she knows how to talk the talk. And she's so educated, and it's so nice to have people on that can do this. She's vibrant with her health, with her clients. She has a great fortitude about information to give us, to make us feel better. And she helps us reveal our emotional roots by her food. Man, that'd be great. I wouldn't be a fat bastard anymore if I knew what was going on. And so maybe she'll be able to help me, and you just never know. So she is the resident nutritionist, and she's going to be here to help us. And I'm really looking forward to that. I just wanted to let all of my listenership know that looks like in the next few days, Thursday, we have the new moon solar eclipse that's happening, which is going to be affecting many of us. And it's going to be a very difficult situation for some. There are some birth signs that are going to have some difficulty with it right off the bat. And I had written a few notes down for all of us. So let's give me a second here as I take a look for it. And I have my notes, and here we go. It's Aries, Taurus, Capricorn. And you're going to have some difficulty here. And it's just going to be where we don't believe in ourselves enough. And this solar eclipse is such a dynamic energy, which Miranda and I are going to talk about quite a bit. It's exhausting, this one, and it will make you tired, physically tired. And we can go on about some of that, which is going to be kind of crazy. And then Mercury in retrograde, it's going to be something else. And that starts on the 21st. And that's crazy because it's what happens here. It's if you're not prepared, you're going to have so much drama that you're not dealing with it properly, that it's going to really amplify and go crazy on all of you. Every birth sign is going to have some difficulty if you're not careful. People who are in charge, I mean, in business, that type of thing, large CEOs, if they're listening to our program today, there's going to be issues right there too, because the Aries themselves are shaking up themselves. So when they do that, they're going to do it to everyone else. So that's going to be really, really crazy. Financial decisions are going to be hard to make. And so in saying this, it's going to be difficult. Taurus, I guess, that is in your first house, and that could give you an experience of evaluating yourself, over-evaluating yourself, maybe putting yourself down, not finding boundaries for yourself, trying to find the trigger, have that boundary worked on, all of those type of things. And you have to know and you have to feel better about yourself. So that's going to be a little bit hard on you. Geminis, get ready. This is when you dive into your own psyche, man. I'm telling you, I married a Gemini, and I just know what's going on with them. So their subconscious is a chance for the very first time in years for them to piece something together to finish something off. So it's really going to help them. But if they have an electronic in their hand, it's going to break. If they're going to have anything electronic, it's not going to work in the Gemini's hands. So maybe they should let somebody else take notes, and that's going to be good. Cancer people, you click with everybody. That's the thing about Cancer. If you guys click, you have a lot of friends, you feel a little bit confident, and your decisions are going to be based on long distance relationships, other people that you've outgrown. So that's going to be a really hard thing for you to find your confidence again. And it'll come back after May 14th. So don't worry about it too much. Leos, come on. Really, at the end of the day, you know, you're the ones who self-sabotage and you're really good at it. And I'm not trying to punish you here, but try and take little baby steps for the next 3 weeks. Don't get upset with us because we're not the problem. Not any of those other 11 birth signs are the problem, okay? You are going to not get knocked down a few pegs because you guys are ego driven in a lot of different ways. And I'm not putting you down. It's just your sign. So you got to have some confidence, humility, and just trust your judgment and just don't share it with everybody. Virgos, you're going to be lost. You're going to, for the next 3 weeks, you're going to try and figure out the unexpected. You're going to have to embrace different paths, different detours. You're going to be offered, might be offered a new position in a job and you're not going to like it. I would take it because it's only going to be short term and it'll help you move into something different. But after May 14th, it'll give you a better direction. And it's like you're the planners, so get ready. Libras, which I am, obviously, I have to just know that I have an expiry date on friendships, on jobs, on making peace with myself, and that I have to set myself free. I have to start forgiving a little bit more, even though we are the scales and we like everything to be copacetic. There's a lot of emotional shifts, but relationships with your family, your siblings, your spouses, all of that is going to work out okay. Your children will listen to you for a change. That's going to be kind of cool. Scorpios, deep dive into your relationships because you're all having issues. You have to feel like the two of you are together. You both have to feel inspired and you're going to have to work together as a team, no matter who you're working with. And that's what Mercury in retrograde is going to do. It's going to force you to do that when you don't like to do it. And the Sagittariuses, well, that marks the end of anything that you did not take care of and you didn't. And now you're going to start taking care of yourself. You're going to watch out. Your energy is going to feel drained from pretty well starting this. It started on Monday and it's going to continue right through until probably May 14th, May 15th. But all of this is so that you don't overthink, you don't overdo, and you take your time on everything. So just be prepared for that. And that's going to be a lot different. And I'm just hoping that everyone is prepared for tomorrow and just have a lot of fun with it. And I'm just looking for my notes because I have to say something about what I was going to ask. And I think I have it all. And so unprofessional of me today, but who cares? And I am going to introduce to you now. Oh, by the way, say hi to Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
How are you, Joe?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. Oh, I forgot to mention, right? We have smudge kits online today, right?
We do.
So,
yeah, check out the shop.
Guys, go to the shop, man. Take a look at this. He called me a skater or something today. Look at that. There's the hat. That looks pretty good. His shirt, look at painting. That's awesome. And then the white noise, which is really cool. Go ahead, get something. It's fun. It's been consistent, so keep it up, everyone. And thank you for getting the merch. It just goes towards the podcast to help this become a little bit more because I don't have advertising. That's my only form of advertisement, and that's what's going to keep our show going. So buy if you can buy. If you can't, there's no big deal. So what else am I telling? Oh, we're looking to do a smudge seminar in March, probably the third week in March on a Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it'll give you plenty of time to purchase those smudge kits, but I'll let you know ahead of time. And we can all go through a lesson, which is a lot of fun. I sold out the last time and I ended up doing 2 weekends in a row. So hopefully we can just do it in one weekend and have a lot of fun with it, okay? And we can't take ourselves too serious, but we do anyway. So without further ado, in my 10 minutes of jabbering on, I would like to bring on our lovely nutritionist, our specialist in every way, our body wisdom as expert, our Reiki practitioner, our trained journalist and TV personality, Miranda.
Hello, Jim. I thought you forgot about me.
Oh, no, I didn't. So you and I have
I
been
was
talking. Go ahead.
I was gonna pretend I was invisible just because you told me that you can do that.
Uh,
And then I was gonna pretend I wasn't in the chair, and then no, but I didn't do that. So anyway, I'm
you know
here.
what? The best thing about spirituality and doing things, when you're having trouble with a lot of people or dark energy or anything in that way, I taught people how to make themselves invisible from that energy so that they're not always being attacked. And it usually works.
Yeah, I find that a hard thing. Like I was saying, try to surround yourself with like the white bubble or the mirror effect. And I consciously have to remember to do that because I often don't. And then I'm like, oh, you go to the grocery store, you go to the mall, and you're like, oh, why didn't I remember to do that? I'm so, well, sage yourself to
Mhm.
get home. That kind
Yeah.
of feeling. Yeah.
So, like I said, this week, you and I talked quite a few times and we got quite a bit of information from one another. And we actually
We
got,
did.
didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of had a good time chatting.
Yeah. And it worked for us. And
It
it was,
did.
and you specialize and you've had your own, the Marilyn Denis Show, which was really cool. And it was an icon here in Ontario, but across Canada as well.
Canada. Yeah, for sure.
Because we have a lot of Americans out here in this. A lot of Americans are my friends.
Oh, that's so nice.
They are. And they're a good bunch. And so the idea behind this is to let them know what you did and they can look you up on YouTube, I'm assuming, for anything that you've
Not a
done.
lot. I just started. Yeah, I started YouTube. I'm more on social media, like Instagram at Miranda Malisani. That's where I post a lot of things. But there's a lot of segments I've done over the years that you can't find now because CTV, they don't want you to have record of it. So it is what it is. Lots of memories, but I do have a history in both health and journalism, and was very lucky to be on the show for 9 seasons.
Wow.
And done a lot of different types of other things. Like even I was in the States for an infomercial. Actually, I hosted an infomercial there and done a lot of great partnerships. So I feel very lucky, met a lot of great people, had very cool opportunities in even just in green rooms. Like I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
Some of the best conversations I've had doing media were just in the green rooms, just connecting to people. And that's my favorite thing to do wherever I go.
And that's our calling card is in the green room. We talk to this person, that person talks to you. Hey, we can get you on this show or we can talk to you over there. And, it's good because sometimes the hostess doesn't want to share.
Well, and like you're building relationships and you realize like it's such a small community of people. It doesn't matter where you are. Someone knows someone that knows somebody. So it's cool. And I know we know a couple mutual people and it just, you find your people, right?
We do because you and I follow quite a few of the same people, which is really neat for me. So I find that interesting. I wanted to ask you a question, which I was very curious about, and it's about body wisdom.
Yeah, very excited about that these days because I was a nutritionist I still am a nutritionist, but focused on nutrition for, I don't know, 14 years, 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
And in that process and just going back into my own trauma and my own understanding of what I've been through, I realized that we miss the mark on our health sometimes. No, all the time.
Yes.
When we don't realize all the time, when we don't realize that when we get deeper and more aware of how our body expresses what we need to know when it comes to our health, every moment of the day, it's constantly giving us signals. Like, look how connected you are, Jim. But our body is sending us signals all the time. And during our formative years, that 0 to 7, we're in like a hypnosis. And a lot of things go down during that time that my theory is that we have to almost unlearn as adults. And it really is a connector of our health if we go backwards to where we are now. So our body wisdom is that ability to make the connection between our physical symptoms, the deeper emotional roots, getting really to the root of it as opposed to just the symptoms. So, you may have high blood pressure and you change your diet and you take medication. But if you don't get to the root of the betrayal trauma, if you don't get to the root of understanding the lack of love you felt as in childhood, where there was catastrophic changes and you had to be the go-to person, and the anger that boils up with that and the control you have to have in your environment, if you don't understand how that manifests for you, it really doesn't matter if you just kind of like treat the symptom. You're not getting to the root. So body wisdom is the ability to go back into the body, understand what's showing up for you, and care for it. Be curious about it. I really strongly believe that that helps us so much to be healthier.
So in that body wisdom characteristics of what we do as a father to a young daughter, and I worry about the sugars that I give her, the sugars that I never received as a kid. So I just say, I'm going to give that to her because I never had a chance. So I'm going to give her a little bit more. And I do get in shit for it. Trust me.
Yeah.
But it's, I find that the obsession over sweets are very big between 0 and 7. That reasoning stage isn't there. It's just something that they enjoy. And I enjoy watching them enjoy it, but it's not healthy.
Well, it's that pleasure. And when we give our child a sweet treat, it's like that connection place. It's that place of reward. And I feel your love and that nurturing, because, you know, if they're in that state of hypnosis, they're almost just in a place of like receiving that affection. And a treat is so easy and tangible. Oh, you just something good. You're so good. Oh, here, have a popsicle or have whatever it is. And it's a way of expressing love. And if you didn't get that love, you want to give more to your child because you're trying to also remedy the child within you that didn't get the love that you needed. And so we overcompensate as a parent. Trust me, Jim, I'm totally been in the same boat of overcompensating because of what I didn't receive, because I never want my child to go through or children to go through what I went through. However, the truth of it is when you get that nudge, like, feeling a lot of extra here. So I have guilt that I'm giving her too much sugar because I'm getting that. I'm feeling like not so good about this, but I also feel like I want to give it to her. You kind of have to go back into your own child state. Like, where is this coming from? Because the cycle continues. And that's where we need to break the cycle for our next generation. You experienced something from your parents. You didn't get what you needed. And you're trying to break the cycle. But if you're not breaking the cycle in a way where you're remedying your pain first, it just kind of bleeds into the next generation. And I really think that we have this beautiful opportunity to like slow down enough and be curious about why we do things and then reparent ourselves. And it really does change, right? Yeah.
I love cooking. I've been cooking since I was a child at 5 years old on a chair with my grandfather learning how to make food. He was a chef, chef. It was something that was unbelievable. And I learned a lot from him, and I still do. So I'm basically a root nutritionist of those type of vegetables. But my grandfather overcooked them even back then.
They were totally like, they're just like mushy and nothing left.
No such thing as Dante. You know what I mean? Like there was
nobody had that.
There's none of it. So you would pick up a carrot and it would just fall apart in your spoon, kind of thing. You're going, well, okay, well, I'm going to eat it because that's all I know.
Yeah, exactly.
But everything tasted good, but everything tasted the same. It wasn't until I got into my late teens that I noticed what a carrot actually tasted like if it was cooked.
It's too funny.
So there was a lot.
You broke the cycle there. You broke that cycle well, didn't you?
Oh, I did. And I had fun with it. And I learned spices, and I learned how to enjoy my food that I made. And that was my go-to with all my friends and family. So I didn't give a shit about nutrition. I cared about giving them the creamiest of foods, the richness of it, anything that would create these bouquets of flavors that people would just love and want to come back because I needed that attention.
Well, and love, like you expressed your love through food and also gave you a feeling of satisfaction. And, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. But when you realize, is it the validation you're constantly seeking that you can't get enough of? You know what happens, Jim? I realize in childhood, you know, you went through a lot of trauma.
Yep.
If you didn't get the core support you needed, it's almost like we're constantly reaching for it as adults. Like, is it enough love? Does this feel like love? Is this the formative love that I missed? You don't have a comparison. And then when we have children who go like, there's a bit of a gap because you want to make sure they have consistency and stability and security and all the things you didn't receive, but you can't relate to it in the same way. So
And
it's almost like this abyss, right? Like you don't know how to actually connect
100%.
to it in the same space. Yeah.
100%. And I find that we become so emotionally attached to food on every level of our daily lives.
Yeah. Well,
So, for me anyway, and I'm old school, right? So it's just like you needed to have that fridge full. And it didn't matter what it was, but you can always make something that was inside your fridge to serve. Now, we didn't know nutrition. We didn't know what was good, bad, or ugly, but we had it in
yeah.
there. No food went bad in my family because Hungarians make goulash. If you know, the leftovers.
Totally know the goulash. I think it's interesting because we use food as a way to suppress a feeling. So like it's very tangible and very quick. So we have a feeling that pops up, it bubbles up, and then we reach for something in the fridge or a drink or whatever it is to suppress the feeling. It's very easy. So we are all emotional eaters. It's the interesting part of it is there's certain foods that actually satisfy different feelings. So sugar, okay, is like the feeling of love. Same thing would be chocolate. Obviously, chocolate is like a warm hug. Bread, same thing. Bread is something we crave when we feel like we don't have enough father masculine attention in our life.
Get
Our
out of
father,
town.
yeah. So when the father's absent or you don't have that great connection with your father, you would crave more breads. Fat is when you don't have enough excitement or joy in your life. So you like more nuts, like nuts and seeds and things like that. When you crave like, the trail mixes, you're looking for more excitement. It's really interesting when you see this.
Holy Christ, I'm dysfunctional.
You're all over the place. And then there's cheese, like cheese and pizza seems to be one of those hot, like everyone loves pizza. And that's because cheese is almost like an antidepressant to the brain. It releases the same components as like an antidepressant would. So cheese is very addictive when it comes to like feeling low. We want cheese. And so you could appreciate how many people want to reach for cheese, especially these days. So it's really interesting. Pay attention to the foods that you crave and then stop before you do it and ask yourself in the moment, like, what am I really feeling here? What am I really feeling in this moment before you do that?
All food is a trigger in our emotional growth or how we stay behind ourselves or we don't grow. And we use food as our protector and we don't make any of those changes because that's just fulfilling something constantly. It is an addiction in a way. And
it's like kind of choose your poison in that way. Yeah.
That's pretty. Why aren't you doing this full time and doing this for everybody? And I know you do.
I kind of do. But yeah, I mean, I find it, what I really am so interested in what I do now, and I help with nutrition and support that. But I see so much more success when we can go to the root. We can go to the understanding of where it started. And then let's work backwards from that. Because if we know that, at age 8, you lost a parent, that's a significant event that would shape beliefs. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton, but he has the book, The Biology of Belief. And it's basically your genes express themselves based on your belief. So between 0 and 7, we're in the state of hypnosis and we're in a programming mode. So whoever our influential people are around us, right, our parents, whoever's supporting us, is programming us to believe. Now, as a parent, whatever you're going through, myself included, you go through shit in life and you're trying to make it happen and be there for your kids, but sometimes you're human and you fuck up. And so as a child in that state of being in a needy place of needing that support, and you go through these experiences and you start to see yourself as maybe not worthy of love or not supported, not seen, not heard, not whatever it might be, that becomes part of your programming. And that programming is 95% of what you go through and you think on a day-to-day basis. 5% is in that creative space of flow. 95%. So if you think of that, right? So if you think about the belief we have when we're children and how that shapes our health, because we kind of we always feel like we're kind of big kids, right? Like you don't feel like like you're 20, don't you, Jim?
19. But
19, I know.
But yeah, because I don't know why, but it's like you want to do things. And I find that at times I'm slowing down a lot quicker. And I know that I can have nutrition to pick up that energy, but I don't know where to start. And that is the problem. Because there is not one doctor, not one, or a good nutritionist that would want to spend the time with me emotionally to say, what really happened to you? What went
Yeah.
on? Why is this going on?
That's what I do.
never met a nutritionist other than you, Miranda,
Yeah. Thank
to
you.
really bring things out in people to feel like you're not alone. Like, you've done this. We feel it. We understand it. Now, what do we do with it? Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's grab this scope and have an understanding of who we are. As a life coach, an intuitive life coach, I bring people with all of their triggers and I help them find boundaries that they live with, and it works for them. And I've had great success with that, but no success with people who cannot stop eating or have issues with it because I don't know the first thing about it. Shamefully, and I should.
Doesn't need to be shamefully. Why? Get rid of the shame.
Well, then I don't feel educated enough or warranted enough to have the ability that you have, Miranda, and the education that you took and the understanding of food with personalities, the disorders of them, and you can communicate what we're doing with something unlike anybody else that I've ever met. And I've been around for a while. I give you kudos because you're awesome at what you're doing.
Oh, you're so sweet to me. I appreciate that. I would just say, like, we all have our specialty, and like, I'm not a plumber. I can't see dead people yet. But like it's yet. I think what's so valuable and what we're missing in our society in general is making connections, but the connections are already within you if we all slow down enough and get curious about that space.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is everything is an evolution and it starts evolving, and then the right people show up in your life and you go, oh, like, I can start with a smoothie in the morning. That's easy enough. I can throw my plant-based protein and my greens and my healthy fat and my fiber, and I can whip that up in the morning. And then I can have a salad with some protein and a little healthy fat at lunch. Like, it becomes easier because the block is the root that's not gotten to yet. The rest of the stuff is easy. Learning how to eat is super easy. This other stuff is what holds us back.
I don't know. I've always been on the verge through all of my doctors throughout my life on the side of obesity. I have been told that I'm obese at times. And that frightens me because they tell me, well, you know what? Don't do this. Go outside, work out a little bit, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah,
no
I know what they tell you.
Explanation about anything. No telling me, go see this nutritionist. You go see this nutritionist. And I'm being honest with you, 3 nutritionists that I have seen in my lifetime have embarrassed me in their business, place of residence, their business. And I walked out on the one. I walked out, I called him every name in the book as I walked in.
Well, that's super not okay. And I think that's a reflection of them, because it really should be such a simple structure at the beginning. And the reality is if you've been challenged in your weight, it's always the influence of the emotional root. Like, it is nothing more than that, because Jim, you are super intelligent. Obviously you have like such expansive knowledge. So it's not, the block is not coming from your lack of understanding nutrition. It's coming from what's pushing you to go to the foods and the drinks or whatever it might be that are swaying you to feel better in the moment. That's it.
And I thank you. But so you and I have to do a show and then put me on the right path and then let everybody see what my results are down the road.
I could tell you right now,
Sure.
and like 5 things you could do.
Tell
If
me.
you started your day with protein, like, that's why I love smoothie. We make it a functional smoothie. So you have protein, healthy fats, leafy greens, and some boosters, some fiber in there. That's going to last you a few hours. That's your breakfast. You probably don't eat breakfast right away. Probably have coffee first thing.
I have 3 cups of coffee, and then I have my brunch in between clients every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say. So breakfast has to be within the first hour of waking.
Okay.
And then a couple hours later should last you about 2.5 hours, maybe 3. You could stretch it to. We're going to go back into the same kind of like, it's so easy. We could do this so easily. Protein, healthy fat.
It's not easy, Miranda.
No, I'm telling you, I know it doesn't feel easy right now, but I can simplify it for you in a way where you'll feel it's the confidence too that we lack a lot of the time in these
We
space,
do.
right? Because it's such a big world, and we also think it has to be complicated in order to get on track, but it doesn't have to be. It can be really just like following the same fundamentals of protein, healthy fat, and fiber, and a small amount of carbs. And so easy. Like, for example, if you had dinner leftovers at lunchtime, awesome. And then
Too much food.
perfect. Then in the evening, you want to have a lighter meal. The lightest meal, I believe, should be in the evening because it'll set you up for a better sleep. Too many times we have beef and like heavy, easy or very hard to digest proteins. Takes 10 plus hours to digest, and you're sleeping. So you're sleeping and you're digesting. Like, that's not working. You're not sleeping then. There's no restorative sleep happening. And then you wake up and you're feeling drained, and then your rhythms are off, and then you're not hungry the same way, and it really sets a cycle. So it could be just like we're going into the nicer weather, big salad, protein, again, healthy fats, a nice dressing we can talk about. And it can be really simple, but cow's dairy, gluten, sugar, and alcohol. Okay, those are your weight gainers. They're your inflammatory triggers for the most part. Any of the artificial ingredients, artificial flavors, definitely have a junk. Hydrogenated oils, any trans fats, those inflammatory oils, like we want to have omega-3s increased in that area. So when we look at the inflammatory ingredients, we're looking at cow's dairy again, gluten, sugar, alcohol. Okay, if you can slowly or as fast as possible get those out of your diet, I guarantee you, and it's so unfair, men have it so much easier when it comes to this space. I'm going to tell you right now, the hormone factor, it makes a difference. I could guarantee you.
I stopped drinking for 8 days. I lost 4 pounds.
Easy. Yeah, easy. But can I tell you something with the blood pressure link?
Sure.
When you have high blood pressure on an emotional level, you look to alcohol for a relaxer.
Yes.
So that means we have to replace your alcohol with something that relaxes you.
So what would that be?
Well, this is when we start to change the shape of the response from the trigger to the response. So the trigger is I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need to reach for alcohol to settle my nerves. So first we have to look at, why are you feeling overwhelmed? And can you sit with this feeling? And how can we support that feeling in another way? Can you go and get some movement in? Nicer weather's coming soon. Can you go for a walk around the block? Take some deep breaths, do some box breathing, whatever it is. Can we reset your nervous system in a different way? Because your nervous system's on high alert. It's like ready to go, right? When you're feeling in that stress place.
Yeah. So an intuitive who works, we're on a stress level above and beyond what people even understand. And I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody else in that, but to bring that down half would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. So how do you tell me more about that? Like, what does that feel like?
If I'm sitting with you and I'm watching you and I'm looking at your guides, I'm looking at your past lives, I'm looking at everyone behind you, and I'm trying to listen to you at the same time. You've got a crew behind you.
How many are showing up tonight? I'd like to know.
I have 9 different spirits behind you.
Oh my God.
And you have a grandmother that owes you and sits there with you.
Oh, tell me more about her, because I just had a grandmother that passed away not long ago.
She's the one who represents the rest of the family routine. She's the one who tried to be the solid brick and not be passive, but she wanted to always had something really good to say, but nobody listened to her. And she was always interfered with. No one gave her a second chance.
Is this a great grandmother, maybe?
Maybe. She's there and very strong and very positive. You have a fireman beside you.
Okay.
There you go. But that's from a past life. That is someone who holds an interest in you because you saved his life in the past life. So you died, he lived, so he's here to protect you.
Oh, that's cool.
So I get all of these things as I'm listening to you, paying attention, and I have to be right. Psychics have to be right.
What does that mean to you? What do you mean?
So we get extremely we have an anxiety level about ourselves because we're telling you something that you might not quite understand or get because
Right.
we're on a different level or a different plane than everyone else. And then they'll
Yeah.
come back to you 3 months later and just say, you know what? My grandmother was like that. I just didn't know. I had to ask someone else.
So what's interesting is when you're in that state of stress all the
Yeah.
time, heightened stress, extra stress, your blood flow is going to your extremities because that's that state of fight or flight. It's away from your organs, that visceral area of
Yeah.
being able to support your body overall to do what it needs to do. And so important once you're not with clients to bring yourself back to a place of rest and digest actively. And that doesn't mean a beer.
So what I do is now a lot of water. After each client, I try. So I've been doing the water thing that I haven't been doing because I don't drink enough water, but I'm to about 8 of those a day now.
That's awesome.
My body. But you know, it's like you're going pee every 15 freaking minutes, or you have to
And
look between clients.
you're probably not very hungry during the day either.
I'm never, to
Assume.
be honest.
Yeah.
With you. I get in.
Yeah,
a
you
lot.
can't be. Well, because this is the cycle. So if you're in a place of heightened stress, your
Yeah.
body it's not processing it. It doesn't want to digest. It's in a state of fight or flight, not rest and digest. So then you would be hungrier later at night, maybe. And then that's why you're not. Yeah. And then you don't eat early in the morning. So the cycle is like, if we can get you into a better zone of having your smoothies in the first hour of waking up, and then having small snacks throughout the day, so it's easier to digest, like small nutrient-dense snacks, and then having a good dinner, your body will flow much easier. It'll be such a different flow.
So I know right now that my wife is downstairs watching the show, and she wants to hug you big time.
Aw.
Because that's what she says to me every day.
Yeah. And you know what it'll do, Jim? It will help level out your, like, any extra stress that you have is actually probably coming from your blood sugar instability. So you are stressed because of what you do, but your blood sugar instability is actually heightening your stress more. And then that's going to impact your blood pressure. And all of a sudden you're in a state of inflammation that you don't want to be there. And so it's a negative cycle.
Okay. So a psychic or a medium, anybody who's intuitive, we communicate with our bodies, believe it or not.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So our communication, it takes all my chakras to become one for me to give you an answer.
Wow.
That's how that works. And it's silly because people don't get it, but that's the only way we can give you an answer. From my crown to my root chakra, if they're not in unison, you're not getting an answer from me.
It's disconnected. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Because there's not a truth there, or it's uncomfortable, or if there's something that's real and you don't want to tell that person, you have to make something up to appease them or to make them happier so that they don't feel so unhappy about themselves. You know,
Wow.
a lot of people that I deal with are on an emotional level of abuse, of everything that they've gone through COVID. People who've lost so many people, they just want messages. I cannot give a message unless I'm completely rooted, and that is exhausting. And I have a 10-minute time to recover.
That's wild. That's wild. And actually, I did read somewhere that for you to be that intuitive, like, conduit, you have to almost have more weight on as well, like almost more retain more water, I believe is what I
swell at night. Everyone does,
Wow.
I understand, but I swell at night.
You can feel it.
This watch is this, but if you can see the looseness, it will be on me at 3:00 in the morning. I have to take it off.
You should not sleep with that at nighttime too. I feel like that's my nutrition advice to you. I don't think you should sleep with it at nighttime.
No,
it's
sleeping.
It's like that will disrupt your rhythms, and because that's an electrical circuit that is, like, to me, definitely, and that external thing. Just pay, how often do you sleep with it off?
I've had this for 3 years. It's the only time it's off is when I don't remember to charge it.
Do you wake up between like 2 and 4 ever?
I have sleep deprivation. So we're all finding out things. So I average between 4 and 6 hours a day
of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
But is it between 2 and 4? You're waking up in the middle of the night between 2 and 4 normally, or it's all sporadic throughout the?
Well, it's mostly 2 and 4.
Yeah. That's cortisol waking you up. So that makes sense because cortisol is your stress hormone. And also, yeah, experiment. Take this off, take it off and see if it improves at all. Just because you are because you're so sensitive, you are sensitive. You have to be sensitive in order to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a current that's going through your body, right? And those are the things, sleep hygiene. I would say focusing on sleep first and foremost is the most important thing to do.
So when I watch you have a conversation with me, your aura colors brighten up like a rainbow. Your third eye of confidence turns this orange.
Oh, I like that.
So it's such a creative because you're always thinking constantly of you're a healer. You're naturally healing us. And you take pride in what you know. I don't find many people like you.
Oh, thank you.
So
okay, so someone else just came to me, Jim.
Yes.
If you have sleep apnea, you absolutely have to get rid of cow's dairy, 100%.
So what am I going to have? Coffee with almond milk? You want me to?
Yes, absolutely. And eventually you're not even going to need anything in it. So you have to remember everything is an adaptation. Like you can adapt to anything. It takes about 21 to 35 days of you making these changes where you go, when you taste it and you're, how did I have that in my diet? How did I actually consume that and enjoy it? Because you're retraining.
So I'm going to raise my hand. So is that literally that 21-day thing that you're talking about? Is that an addictive side?
It's a cycle change. It's when things start to shift for us, right? It's when things become habitual, or you see like your taste buds are used to something. It's used to cow's dairy. It's used to, sugar. It has a need. And so it becomes desensitized to certain tastes. When you remove it and you go through the process and then you reintroduce it, it's so intense that you won't be able to tolerate it the same way. But like anything, it's a process you go through. And so your body will go through shifts. Your cells are going through shifting and changing and adapting to this new environment. And sleep apnea I see it all the time, especially because dairy is a mucus forming food. And it's not all dairy is bad, but cow's dairy, it's a weight gainer. And I see it all the time, the connection between sleep apnea and cow's dairy. So you can try sheep, goat, much easier to digest, closest to mother's milk goat is, so easy on the body.
Okay. I've nenever tasted goat's milk in my life, and look at me.
Goat's milk is delicious, but you can get every cheese, like mozzarella, cheddar, brie, anything you want. Yeah. So like there's so many options now. Just those are the things you shouldn't have to deal with the sleep apnea, because these are things we can make and adjust. That every adjustment leads to a new change, a new feeling. And then from there, the motivation is alive again. What are you seeing, Jim?
I'm watching, we have a lot of people who want to ask questions.
Oh, great. Awesome. And also, did you talk about retrograde already without me?
No, I was leaving that to us after.
Oh, okay. I'm very excited.
Joseph.
Yes.
Are they winning or losing?
They're losing 6-2.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Sorry for the Toronto Maple Leaf fans. I'm being sorry.
Not a fan, but that's okay.
Can I bug you about anybody have questions?
Yeah, we have a few questions.
Sure.
So what is the best way to understand why I am eating? Is note-taking maybe an option?
Why I maybe need some more clarity with this question. Why I am eating what I'm eating in that moment? I'm assuming.
I think it's more
like we're talking about the cravings.
Yeah, the cravings.
Yeah. I think so. We have to see things as patterns. If we're noticing that we crave something sweet after dinner, see this all the time. This is usually that reward. So we're looking for a reward, or it's like the completion of a meal and it's habitual. If we're looking for a crunchy, salty snack at nighttime, it's because we are stressed and we need to kind of like chew it out. And salt is usually really like soothing to the adrenals. So it probably means your cortisol levels are super high. If you see patterns in your cravings, jot it down, pay attention to the time, pay attention to what it is, and then really pay attention to what's going on internally. And I know that is the hardest part. We do not like to sit with discomfort. So when you have to sit with an uncomfortable feeling, it's very uncomfortable and we want to push it away. That's why we go for the food. But if you can take a few minutes and just check in, then you're going to get information. And that information is going to be really helpful when it comes to making any dietary changes. Hopefully that answers it for you.
That was a good answer.
Well, thank you.
Have we got another one here, Joseph? Because I don't want to screw anybody up here.
We do. I feel like I'm not the right person to ask this, but many women in menopause struggle even more with weight loss due to hormones and exercise, and diet doesn't necessarily work, though we may think we're eating healthy. What can we do?
Yeah, this is a big one. And hormones, like I mentioned to you, Jim, earlier, hormones play a major part. But let's start here on the emotional side of it. As we're going through changes, our femininity and our connection with our feminine self changes. And at the base of our femininity is the need to be desired. And so as we're going through the stages of life as a woman, it's so important to reawaken that sense of desire within yourself. And is it being mirrored back to you? Do you have people in your life or a partner in your life who's helping you to feel this way? A lot of the times we hold on to excess weight because it's a protector, especially as women. It protects us as a boundary from someone who's actually maybe toxic in our life or not reflecting back to us our worth. And so I just feel called to tell you that for some reason, but that as a root is really important to reflect on when it comes to foods and diet. We're always changing. Even men go through changes too, maybe not as extreme, but the foods that you once ate may not work for you. And I think it's just kind of settling in and finding a new normal and finding new comfort in that and changing it up. We get so used to eating the same foods day after day after day and thinking it's going to work for us, but it always has to be shifted. So the key is to kind of, again, tune into your body. And is this something, is it from a feeling space that's holding you back? You really have to increase your minerals when you go through menopause, the healthy fats, and try to amp up the protein as well. Good quality, lean protein, omega-3 fatty acids, that kind of thing. Hopefully that helps.
Wow. I think you should just be on the show full time and then we can just go through.
I'd love that. Thank you.
You know how much, like a lot of people ask so many questions about food and how they live. And even in my life coaching, they're saying, I can't lose this weight. Well, obviously I got to send them to your website. And what is your website, by the way?
Well, I just created a new website. It's called superbodywisdom.com. And you can find me there. I have another website, but that's the focus. So superbodywisdom.com is the place to find me now. Yeah.
We are going to continue, but I need to ask a few other questions because people will want to know.
Please. Okay.
What's the next few projects? What's going on with you? What are you planning on doing? Are you allowed to talk about it? You're smiling going, Jim, not now. What
Well, I kind of took some time out in the last couple of years. I went through a lot of personal excavations and changes in my life. And now I'm working on some interesting things. I'm working on a documentary and I have, the journalism roots and tying that back into health and feel very excited about that. Been taking on more clients. I stopped taking on clients because I did a lot of media for a long time. So I'm actually very excited to take on people who are really wanting to heal and to move into a really positive direction in their life. Yeah, they want a better, and also like it's a dance, like, Jim, it's a dance between two people. You know what? This is really interesting. I'm going to share this. There's two terms I think that's really important to think about when it comes to a transaction: constructive interference and deconstructive interference. Constructive interference. Have you heard this before?
Yes, I love it. Please.
Okay. When you meet somebody or you start a new project or something like that just lights you up and it makes you want to go in that direction and be more and see more and do more, that's constructive.
Yeah.
Right? It creates this third energy. And then the deconstructive part is when one energy cancels out the other energy. And that's kind of like where you want to turn away and you can't be yourself and you're like, oh, this feels icky. The more that we pay attention to that in our life is the more that it leads us on the right path. And I have now really been paying attention to that so much because we, in our career, we are in a place where we think we need to do something for the sake of doing it to build our resume or whatever it might needs to be. But now I'm just doing it from a place of true alignment.
That's
So
where I'm doing mine. So
it's the people. Yeah.
I get along with the people that follow me, the people that I want to help, the people that I want to connect with. I'm more into that side of my life, which makes me much happier and calmer and feel like I'm achieving something more. And so with me working on the new show for me, and I'm not even allowed to that NDA kind of thing, but it's something that I've always wanted to do that it's just going to have fun with.
It's very exciting.
It's
very exciting. These are the moments where you go like when it lights you up, it doesn't feel like work. That's what work should feel like.
Right? When you wake up in the morning and you enjoy what you're doing, which I have for 15 years, I really have enjoyed every minute of what I've done. I'm not pissed off at anybody. I can have my down days like anybody else. I can have my own menopause if you care to, not menopause. I mean my own male period of sorts, like when I get worked up, and I get that stress, man. I get that, like, I don't want to talk to anybody, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, of course, look what's going on. We're going through a solar eclipse tomorrow, and everyone's just feeling the craze of that, right? So of course we go through our days.
And that eclipse started really on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. And it's we're into day 2. Thursday is going to be the actual day of this 20th.
Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is 9:30. Yeah, 9:30. Yes.
So that is going to raise a lot of people's emotions where there's very little control.
Aries at 29 degrees. Whoa. It's like it's the beginning of the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's horrible to say that, but that's when we need to make our changes. We're being foretold and warned, and this is what we need to do. And we panic about our change and our desires. So we get mad, and we get mad at the wrong people. We should be getting mad at them.
And I love that. And we're foretold of change, and the Aries Libra axis, we have to look at that exchange. And so Aries is about the self, Libra is about others. And so a lot of people who are feeling unfulfilled in their relationships right now or unfulfilled in life are saying, I need to disconnect from this because it's time for me to do something for myself outside of this. And it's those people pleasing behaviors and those codependent relationships where you're tied in and you just wait, right?
And this is the thing that I do a lot of life coaching on is people want to end these type of relationships and friendships because they have been dragging. They're not seeing anything. I have a client that I'm seeing tomorrow who's just said that they just landed bombs on their best friend for years and they shouldn't have done it. How do I get out of it? And a lot of people are feeling that. You can watch, if you have young children, I can watch young children in the schoolyard when I brought my daughter to school today who are very temperamental. And it's not because they're 6 or 7 years old. They don't understand the emotion and the feelings that they're having. And they're not sabotaging. They don't know how to do that yet. But they have the ability to say, I don't like playing with you anymore. I don't want to be around you anymore. And the other person is going, I don't know why you're talking like that.
Yeah.
It's doing.
It is. It's not messing around.
And there is no messing around. So we are all becoming very short-tempered through all of this. And that's going to hurt a lot of different people.
Yeah. And from a physical standpoint, I actually posted a TikTok earlier, and it's interesting to see all the comments because I said, Aries rules the head, the upper teeth, the jaw, eyes. So be careful of migraines. And how many people have migraines or exhausted, myself included? I don't nap. Today I had to lay down. I'm waking up tired. I don't wake up tired. So the exhaustion, the irritability, this feeling of digestive sluggishness, very common during any eclipse, any transits like this.
No patience.
Yeah.
But we have patience. Look at us.
We're so good.
I like myself and mirror myself. And that's what people should be doing in part of their meditation, if they meditate. because
Do you think that meditation, like, I think meditation is really important, but I do find I go into meditation when I'm doing certain things where it's like, it's not just sitting and closing my eyes and going through meditation.
I can't
It's
do it.
being meditative. Yeah,
Yes.
being meditative. Yeah.
I listen to Pink Floyd, have my headset on, complete darkness, and I hear the fingers strumming up against the strings. That is my chill, because I don't have to think about Amelia or Jill or my in-laws or my friends or Miranda or even this guy Joe, who's a pain in the ass sometimes because he's a leech.
Joe, honestly, like, get it together.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you about retrograde too, because we're starting retrograde the day after the eclipse, and it's in Taurus.
Yes, it is.
Big deal, right?
So this is when we become head cases. We get a little bit worked up on each of us because not everyone is going to feel a vibe. Like the Cancer sign, for instance, I know because I was just dealing with one. So for them, it's all about a sense of community for a Cancer. Okay.
I'm a Cancer rising. Hi, Cancer rising.
You want community.
I do. Where's my people?
They're coming. We've talked about that, and it's soon.
Yeah.
But for the sign of Cancer, they don't know how to communicate their way out of danger or troubled with friends. What they do is they paint a smile on their face, and they're unhappy. And Mercury in retrograde is going to make them feel like they have to speak. They're going to have to show confidence. So it's a good thing for a Cancer because they're finally going to be themselves, which has taken almost since the year 2019 for them to feel that. So that's before COVID.
Yeah.
So it just built up. So they're gonna have to stay tuned to making new friends. Job opportunities are gonna get there, but don't touch an electronic device and don't sign a contract.
Yeah.
Level. So that's just one sign. And what is your birth sign?
So I'm a Capricorn sun, 0 degrees. Capricorn, I'm a Sagicorn, so right on that cusp, but Capricorn 0 degrees.
Yes.
Cancer rising, Scorpio moon. I am like the depth of Scorpio moon. Really, I actually, it's intense, but I do enjoy that part of my chart.
But because you like clarification on everything.
Depth, like I find like interdependency sexy, and like any type of depth of any, like I just love engaging in the depth of any conversation.
So with this going in Taurus, Taurus has become people pleasers out of nowhere for some strange reason.
I've been that way for a while.
So have I. But I'm not. But I'm not much anymore. What I do is I see the good in people and I help them take it out and I help them be themselves. They just need that one little bit of confidence to move forward. What you and I have been talking to for so long is in all our conversation, you have given nothing but confidence to me and to the crew that's out there. And they know that there's something to look forward to. And that's what I do. But you're doing it in a professional way, but the intuitive side of you also wakes up because you are intuitive. You just don't share it enough. You know? Yeah,
it's definitely been opening a lot more these days because I'm trusting in it more. So if I get something that I need to say, now I'll say it as opposed to not saying it like I used to.
Because Miranda, you used to hold it in. You never used to say it because you stayed in that closet. You refused to come out because if you did, we'd lose our friends, we'd lose our job. It would be the fear that our child would try. We would lose that fear.
Well, and in my childhood, if I spoke what I knew, then it wouldn't be listened to. Then that would be a wound in love, right? So I had to learn not to do that. But now I'm doing it. I'm doing it with confidence again. So I'm happy about that.
And that's why it's bringing you to opportunity. And that's why your June, July, and August is just, it's, why am I signing this contract? Is it worth it? Am I going to do it? And you don't have to say, is the grass greener on the other side? Because it won't be. You'll know because you'll feel it in your heart chakra almost immediately. And your third confidence it'll bounce back and forth. You won't have to talk. because it's a silent agreement with yourself. Your higher self will just say, okay, let's do this.
Wow. Wow.
And that's what you've been waiting for. I'm not going to get into the personal side because we've known each other now, but
Yeah.
it's been a while. Now
It's been a while. Yeah.
and now there's no looking back. So
Yeah, I'm
retrograde
excited.
will affect a lot of people, but it's in a different way as compared to what all other retrogrades have done. It's warning us for the next 3 weeks. Sorry, I have been talking all day, so I'm getting
You, yeah. I was going to say also, you're probably extra depleted because it's the eclipse too, right? I find I get really dehydrated during an eclipse. So I'm drinking all day long and cannot hydrate enough.
Joseph, anybody got questions?
Nothing more has really come through. Oh, there was one in the beginning. About intermittent fasting. What are your thoughts? I know you said you wanted to get protein in the morning.
Can I tell you I'll tell you my real thoughts about fasting. I think that we've exploded with another trend, and it leaves people feeling, it naturally leaves people disconnected from their intuition when they're forced to fast. So I understand the why from a physical standpoint we do it, but especially as women who are going through a cycle in the month, I can tell you for sure that you're going to have days where you have extreme hunger and other days where you're not feeling hungry at all. To me, it can cause more stress to the system. I cannot fast that way. I know it works for some people, and this is when you really have to tune into your own body. If you try it and you find it causes you more stress and more issues, don't do it. And if you find that you're noticing a benefit to it, continue on, but you have to keep on checking in with your body. And that's, I just like, it really comes down to your own intuitive nudges when it comes to diet, for sure.
And that's what I say in my readings. You have to go with what your confidence level says in your third eye. Your crown chakra is going to take in all the information.
Yeah.
Your third eye is going to process it. And then you have to figure it out with the rest of your chakras. And then if it's worthy, it's worth doing. If you're feeling uncomfortable in doing something without cause and effect, and most of the time the effect is a negative one for most of us, that's where we need to be, to assist someone or to help someone, to always be there for them. That's my lifestyle.
That's exactly, I so believe in that. And I do think, like, when we're forcing ourselves to do something that's trendy or we think it's going to work, it's an automatic disconnection from self. Oh, well, I'm doing this because someone else said it works for them, so let me do it. But, you know, we take a look at our birth charts too. We are so unique on every level. So what works for me does not work for you. I can give you guidance and say, can you try this? And then you say to me, you know what? I felt really good doing this. And I didn't feel good doing this. That is where you need to be so much your expert on your body. That's body wisdom. You knowing you.
We know our bodies. I definitely know mine.
Yeah.
I know when I'm exhausted. I know when I'm not well. I know that I need to make changes. And I do. I really do push myself to get better. And I think that's what we need. We need that encouragement from people like you, Miranda, again, to give us that.
I got to say something, Jim. You're a Libra, right?
Yes, I am.
And Libras really crave sugar. It actually is part of your constitution to crave more sugar. You also have a constitution where you probably, when you were younger, you could eat whatever you want and it didn't impact your weight at all.
I was this kid.
Yeah. Libras have this ability where they can eat whatever the hell they want and it be okay. But then it does eventually catch up with you. If, you know, it's more of the body saying like, okay, it's time, right?
Yeah.
But for your constitution, I just want to give you the extra confidence that you're so well supported being a Libra that, again, any small changes you make will be way better than you expect.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I really need to get prepared for June. So I've got
let's get going.
A month to get going here. Joseph, are we going to have any live readings tonight?
We did. I kind of booted them off, to be honest.
Okay. That's okay.
I think we had such a great conversation tonight.
See, Joe's calling. He's calling us out.
Joe calls the shots.
Yeah, that's why he is who he is, you know.
Feel free to continue.
We will for a few more minutes. If the audience doesn't have anything left to say, I just want to say that this was amazing, Miranda. This is, I want
Thank
this
you,
to be
Jim.
a regular thing if we can. I think
Yeah.
our audience would participate in it. I am a psychic. You are an intuitive. People are always expecting to hear from paranormal investigators or other psychic mediums, and I have all of those people on. But this to me is more important about our well-being and our understanding our bodies and our lives. This was one of the best shows I've ever done. Thank you.
Oh, that's what a huge compliment. Thank you so much for having me. And I for sure see much more of this in the future. Like, I think there's so much to be said. And you have helped me already so much in this last couple of weeks. I feel like I've talked to you for so much longer than that. And just understanding like the listening. Like, I believe in listening to my body, but the connection to something, my higher self, the connection where I'm getting the visions. And when you lean into it and trust in them, they get much more clearer. So thank you for that.
It answers so much with such direct information. And it's important that our spiritual side opens up those doors, and we have to open up those doors, because I would be just a regular Joe doing regular things and just being as boring as ever had I not had this intuitive side of me. And I find that bringing this out to others allows other good intuitives to come out and start sharing their qualities. And I've said it every time, there are better psychic mediums out there. There are better intuitives than I am out there. But because of our world, our society, they've kept quiet and they don't talk, but they're coming out now. The good people are coming out of the woodwork. We're not going to be charging someone $5,000 to get rid of a voodoo doll that was set up for you when you were a kid. You know, we're not going to have that.
Wow. Wow. Okay. But Jim.
Yes, ma'am.
I was really hoping we were going to do a reading tonight. So now I'd love to have, I was hoping that, like, I want to see you in action and do that. But next time we'll have to have that happen, because I really think, I love when you share your guide, like when you share your guidance and like the way you tap in and the things that you pull out, and like, where does that come from? How does that even happen? It's
those
so
9 guides that were around you who just said, this is the coolest thing in the world. And I tell a lot of people this, but not as often as I wish I could. You are having the changing of the spiritual guards.
What does that mean?
Every spirit guide that's around you, you have outgrown.
They got annoyed with me. Is that what you're saying? They're like, you are not listening. I am leaving you, and a new crew is coming in. It's over.
A soul and a spirit, a ghost, anything that is protecting us, they have limitations just like we do. And they can't help us into our new soul's purpose or move us towards that goal. So they pretty well give us a great big bear hug. They thank us because they were learning at the same time. They will move on to someone else and help. And now you're about to have a transition before June that you're going to get a whole series again, but probably only about 3 or 4. You won't need the 9 anymore. You won't need them because you're protected yourself. You've outgrown them, and they know that you no longer need them because you have the confidence to move forward. And that's what I give my client. And that's what I know about you. That is reading for you.
So when do they come in? When are they passing the baton, the Miranda crew baton?
So the fireman is leaving, right? Because he acknowledged your presence of you saving his life and doing those things. But he now needs to move on and protect someone else. And you're going to put out other people's fires in a matter of speaking by making them feel good, by making them feel proud to be who they are, no matter big, small, indifferent. You don't look at anyone that way. So those guides don't understand that part about you. So they're going to bring someone on who does, that will help you move forward. The book that you got to write, the new show that you're going to be doing. There's so many different things that will happen. And it's not a matter of time. It's just now when. And that's the thing. So it's not very long. So
2023.
3 good guides, but your higher self always stays with you.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate that.
And that's
Wow,
our
awesome.
it gives us shit. So I get in shit every day. So it's
Do
really
you? Do you still get in shit every day?
every day. Every day of my life, I get in shit. And my mother yelled at me today. So,
Did she?
oh yeah.
She grabbed you by the ear?
She grabs me by the ear, left side, right on the earlobe. And she just says, you know what? You have to calm down. Your daughter's going to see you angry, and you don't want to have your daughter see you angry. Because I was angry. So they give me this domestic, hey, calm down. You don't need to be that rough. You don't need to be
But
that.
that's a real gift, because like I who doesn't as a parent get
Worked
snap
up.
a little bit here and there, worked up, and I always feel like, oh, why did I react that way? And so when you have the pinch in the ear, like I would just wish someone to take me and go, shut up, be quiet.
What they do though is they're making us aware that no one's going to listen to us soon enough. They're just going to shut us down, or they're not going to pay attention to us. And this way, that little pinch on the ear is, oh, okay, Jim, calm down a little bit. Let's think about it. We'll move forward. I learn every day.
Well, I think we don't stop learning until the end, right? It's a learning.
It's right to the end, and then our soul's purpose, did we accomplish what we needed to do? 90% of us don't. We don't.
90 is that a 2023 updated stat, Jim? 90%.
90% of us have to come back because we did not learn, and our world is in turmoil. I don't want to go through all the politics and all the energy.
Rough.
We're unhappy as a universe, and we sort of need to change that. And we need to start believing in ourselves again.
Well, we're not in harmony with our environment. And I think if we came back to the place of being in harmony with our environment and take responsibility and accountability and that connection, it would make us happier. We would be, it really comes down to when you are reflecting that in your environment, you reflect it internally. You can't have it any other way, right?
See, now I have to go and have a crunchy bar because of you.
Oh, a crunchy bar? Can you just have a little apple with some pumpkin seed butter? Does your wife buy any pumpkin seed butter?
Never mind. I'll have an apple with peanut butter. That'll do it. Okay.
That's good. I like it. Good. And then we'll chat tomorrow. I'm going to get you on the smoothie. We're doing it.
We're going to talk about that. Again, I want to thank you, Miranda, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Like, I'm honored to have you on the show. It's nice to have.
I'm honored.
This is fantastic. We are doing it again. And I think we should maybe get our crew in. Maybe we should do this monthly.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it. I'm totally in.
We'll just I might have to pay Joe though. That's the problem.
Oh, Joe.
Joe.
Oh, Joe. He needs to go to sleep now, I think.
Joe, are you okay? Are you okay that they lost?
I'm okay. The game's not over, but I'm okay. Still have hope.
All right. So we're gonna say goodnight to everybody. And Miranda doesn't have to go anywhere. We're just gonna say goodnight together because we work together as a team on this show, which is what I love. Thank you so much for being here. Miranda, last time, your website for them to go to?
Superbodywisdom.com. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Miranda Malisani or Superbodywisdom as well. Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Everybody, get some merch. Be a skater.
I need one of those. Yeah.
Get one of those. And white noise.
Is it your shirt too? I like it.
Well, see the painting?
Oh, why didn't I even notice that? What?
I don't know. That's from a psychic artist, by the way. That's what
really?
She behind me.
Wow.
Yeah, she was
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Right. To the crew, everyone, thank you for being here tonight. I love you guys. We're going to see you in 2 weeks' time. I do have a psychic medium that's coming on. She's based out of the US. She is interesting. And we're going to go from there. And maybe Miranda and I might just work on something that we can do a monthly on this show and just have some fun.
Love it. Let's do it.
All right. You're going to count us down, Joe?